Woo, my phone is hot because social media is blowing up over everything that Kanye West, formerly known as that, now known as Ye, had to say on the show. Look, this man is very relevant right now, and I don't think it's necessarily for good reason. I think that he says a lot of things that are provocative in the political dynamic between right and left, and that's why the right is embracing him. It's not about free speech. It's not about that he has the right to say things. Of course he has the right to say whatever he wants to say in America, but that doesn't make whatever he says right. And that is a distinction with a difference, okay? It is not right, it is not fair, and it is not good to try to paint an entire industry as being a function of Jewish control. That is an old trope, okay? I'm not saying that there haven't been situations over the years where people of a certain faith didn't do bad things, especially in the recording industry, which was one of the, dirtiest things, he mentioned in our discussion being at Fife's memorial, Fife Dog, a big part of a tribe called Quest, a legendary rap hip-hop band. Friend of mine, Q-Tip, the Abstract, is the head of it. I was there. And I saw that community allow then Kanye West to get on stage, uninvited, and talk about what Fife meant to him. And they embraced him, even though he didn't have any business doing that at that time. And there was a forgiveness of him. And there was a feeling that he is struggling with controlling what's in his head and what's in his heart. Now, I'm not saying that that makes it okay for him to say things about how Jews own the media and all this other BS. But there is a forgiveness for him that I think will now change because of how he's being put into the political fold. And it's not about not allowing somebody to be free. I just gave him a majority of my show to talk about this because he's relevant, because he shapes people's ideas, and because he is now relevant and being weaponized in politics. And it's important that we stand up not just for somebody's right to speak, but for what is right to speak. And it's not going to happen on my show, no matter how big a star is. And I'm sure there are a ton of fans saying, he was just speaking the truth. That's your truth. That's your opinion. You will never have me believe that my Jewish brothers and sisters are some part of some, any of this ugly speculation. We all know it's not true. He can believe it. That's his right. But for him to be made resonant, and now if he's going to own a social media platform, he's going to have to own what he says. And two things can be true at the same time. He can say things that are ugly, that are repugnant, and demonstrably false. And he should be held accountable for that, and I did. And he can also be ailing and not dealing with something that may be precipitating the constancy of some of these statements and the depth of some of these statements. Illness can do that. Two things can be true at once.